Today we're going to take a look at some antique pistols. They're pretty common. You may run across them at gun shows, estates, or flea markets and that. And what we have here is we have two examples of a spur trigger, single action, rimfire pistol. This is a design that kind of came out around the time of the Civil War, when rimfire cartridges were new technology. There's several companies that made guns similar to this. Colt, Harrington and Richardson, Iver Johnson. Everybody kind of made something similar. But in this case, after some research and looking into it, there were a lot of companies that made these guns in different configurations or type, a lot of different companies. These here examples are what were termed at one time back in the 40s as a suicide special, which later that term kind of came to the Saturday night special. And what these are cheap mass-produced guns of little less better quality than a brand name maker. And you can tell that because the way they're marked. There's no serial numbers on these guns or anything. On this top strap on this one here, I don't know if you can see it, it just says Blue Whistler. And then down here on the frame, it'll say 32 caliber, 32 caliber cartridge. Same with this. This one here has the Sportsman on a top strap, then again down on the frame, 32 caliber. And these are single action 32 caliber rimfire. Now, one way you can tell, you pull that back and you look at that hammer, it's got a blade instead of a firing pin. It's like a blade type. So you know that's a rimfire gun. Now, how you would load these guns, they have just a giant loading gate here. You would pull this back to a position like a half cock or something, freeze this up. Then you would load it through the loading gate, push the cartridges in. There's actually a recess in here. And then when you get it loaded up, you might want to leave the chamber empty or down on that notch there. And then single action, that's how they fire. Now, the 32 rimfire was a very popular cartridge, and there are a lot of guns, a lot of these nondescript guns. I've seen little break-action rifles calibered in it, and I guess it was in production for quite a while, long after it became unpopular, say to the 40s. And every now and then, Navy Arms will have a foreign country make a run of them, and I don't know how many years ago, it's not very often. And to find a box of 32 rimfire cartridges is extremely expensive and hard to do. But also, the interesting thing about this is I don't know how you would get the fired cartridges out. Some of the older guns have a thing, these two here, particular ones, and that's how I kind of know they're not like Hopkins and Allen's or Iver Johnson's. They have a little tab here. Push this little tab forward and pull out the center pin, and then your cylinder comes right out. And you can either get a stick or pencil and, or this, push the cartridges out. And basically that's how you unload it. It's an interesting gun. They're not really worth a lot of money, and people really don't collect them per se. They are old. They are interesting. You really can't fire them or nothing because the ammunition is almost impossible to get, and if you can get it, it's extremely expensive. You know, so shooting these is kind of impractical. Plus, they were designed in the black powder era, and putting a more modern cartridge in there might blow them up. Actually, in the one book they do warn. But some neat little set of pistols. Something interesting I run across. I thought I'd make a little video in case you find, like I said, you can find these in estates or flea markets. They're not really worth much. I don't think you could get more than $60 for this one here. Maybe because this one's nice, it might be worth $80 to $100 or something. If it had a maker's name on it, it might be worth another $20, $30. But interesting guns, and we're going to take a look at some other ones also.